Have you ever noticed that a woman in her 20s can be surrounded by younger guys who look better, dress cooler, and post more on social media? Yet the man who actually gets into her heart is the one with a few silver hairs, a calm voice, and a life that is already in order? And maybe you asked yourself in silence, what does he have that I don't? Or, why do women keep choosing older men when they say looks and youth matter so much? Today I am going to give you the answer that nobody explains to you clearly, the deep psychological reason why so many women are powerfully drawn to older men, and how you can embody that same magnetic energy no matter how old you are. First, you need to understand something that will completely reframe the way you see attraction. Women are not scanning your face the way you scan theirs. You might be focused on hips, lips, eyes, and body. She is scanning something completely different. Your stability, your emotional maturity, your ability to lead, protect, and create a future. From the outside, that looks like she just prefers older men. But internally, inside her nervous system, what is actually happening is that age is functioning as a shortcut, a psychological signal that says, this man has lived, this man has survived, this man knows who he is, this man is less likely to waste my time or destroy my life. That is the level she is choosing from, even when she cannot put it into words. Psychologists and evolutionary researchers have studied this for decades. When they ask thousands of people across dozens of cultures what they look for in a partner, the pattern repeats itself with almost boring consistency. Men tend to prefer younger women, while women tend to prefer men who are slightly older. David Buss, one of the most famous researchers in this field, found in a huge cross-cultural study that women generally choose men a few years older than themselves, and this shows up again in marriage records and long-term couples. UT Psychology Labs. This is not about a trend on social media. It is about something wired deep into our psychology over thousands of years of evolution. But I don't want you to hide behind biology as if it were a sentence. Women prefer older men, so I'm doomed until I hit 40. Or, I'm past my prime, I'll just rely on my age and do nothing. That is the lazy interpretation. What you need to see is the deeper truth. Women are not obsessed with age. They are obsessed with what age tends to represent. If you can embody those qualities early, you become the exception that every woman notices. And if you are already older but carry those qualities consciously, you stop feeling too late and start feeling like an unfair advantage. Let's start with the most primal layer: survival. For most of human history, a woman's survival and the survival of her children depended heavily on the man she chose. A bad choice could mean violence, hunger, or social exclusion. So the female brain evolved to be highly selective. An older man, on average, had more time to prove that he could gather resources, handle conflict, and navigate life. He had more evidence of competence, more scars, more wins, more experience. Age became a shorthand for, this man has demonstrated that he can keep people alive. Even today, in a world of supermarkets and Wi-Fi, that ancient wiring does not disappear. It simply translates into modern traits: career stability, financial responsibility, social status, and the ability to remain calm under stress. Now notice something. All of those traits are psychological and behavioral, not strictly biological. You can be 30 and embody them more than a man who is 50. You can be 45 and still behave like a boy who never learned to hold himself accountable. Age is only a rough indicator. The real attraction comes from the inner structure of your character. Women feel this. They may not quote studies, but they feel in their body when a man has structure and when he doesn't. The older man tends to have something the younger man often lacks: a defined center. He knows what he will tolerate and what he will not. He knows what he wants his life to look like. He is less impressed by superficial beauty and less likely to chase just to prove something to himself. That grounded certainty creates a very specific sensation in a woman. Her nervous system relaxes. Her mind might still question, analyze, and resist, but her body says, here there is less chaos. Here there is less uncertainty. Here I can soften. This is the first psychological reason. An older man often represents emotional safety, not soft, weak safety, but sturdy, masculine safety. The safety of someone who has already been through storms and does not freak out every time something goes wrong. If you look at your own life, you will see it clearly. When you were younger, how did you react to conflict, rejection, money problems, family drama? Most men were more impulsive, more explosive, more desperate to prove themselves. With age, if you are growing properly, you become less reactive and more deliberate. That evolution, that transition from emotional chaos to emotional mastery, is extremely attractive to a woman. Now ask yourself honestly, how do you respond when she pulls away slightly, tests you, or becomes emotional? Do you get anxious, start chasing and asking for reassurance? Do you argue to defend your ego? Or can you breathe, stay calm, listen, and respond from a strong center? Women see that difference instantly. The second type of man feels older, even if he is not. That is why I say, it is not the candles on your birthday cake, it is the weight of your presence. There is another psychological reason that almost nobody explains clearly. Women are evaluating your future, not just your present. You often evaluate a woman primarily in the present, how she looks now, how she makes you feel now. She, on the other hand, is projecting you forward. If I tie my life to this man, where will we be in 3 years? In 10? Will he be more stable or more chaotic? Will he grow or will he sink? This is not gold digging. This is risk management. From that angle, the older man again has an advantage. He has a visible pattern. You can see the trajectory. How does he deal with money? How does he work? How does he solve problems? You are not guessing. You are observing a record of years. An older man who has built something tangible, skills, reputation, discipline, a certain lifestyle, sends a powerful signal. I am not just potential, I am realized potential. For a woman, that is deeply calming. A younger man might have enormous potential, but no proof yet. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Women are tired of being the rehabilitation center for men who refuse to grow. They are tired of raising adult males like children. So when she sees a man who has already raised himself, who already carries his own weight, there is immediate respect. That respect is one of the hidden fuels of attraction. Let's talk about polarity. Masculine and feminine polarity is one of the most important concepts in seduction and relationships, and yet it is one of the most misunderstood. The healthy feminine wants to feel, to flow, to express, to be spontaneous. The healthy masculine wants to hold direction, structure, and consciousness. When that polarity is strong, she can relax into her emotional world because she knows your masculine presence will not collapse. Older men often have stronger polarity because they have had time to refine it. They have been broken, rejected, challenged, and through that, they learn to stay rooted in who they are. A woman senses that. It feels like this. I can be fully emotional around this man, and he will not become emotional in the exact same way. He will not mirror my chaos. He will stay present and stable. Younger men, especially those who have not done inner work, tend to get pulled into the same emotional storm. She cries, he cries. She gets triggered, he gets triggered. She feels insecure, he begs for validation. The result is that she does not feel held. She feels like she is now responsible not only for her feelings, but also for his. There is no polarity, only two unstable energies crashing into each other. And then everyone is surprised when she quietly gravitates towards a man who may not be as handsome, but whose energy is solid and unmoved. Now, if you are younger and you are listening to this, do not make the mistake of thinking, so I lose by default. No. What this really means is that the market is wide open for younger men who decide to grow faster than the average. If you cultivate emotional stability, discipline, and purpose at 25, you will stand out violently among your peers. While they are competing on looks, followers, and superficial lifestyle, you will be the one man who radiates something women rarely feel at that age. Deep masculine groundedness. Let's go even deeper into the psychological mechanism inside her. A woman's nervous system is extremely sensitive to inconsistency. When she feels an inconsistent man, one day motivated, the next day lost, 1 week disciplined, the next week disappearing, one moment loving, the next moment cold, her entire body goes into alarm mode. It is not just he is unreliable, it is, I cannot build anything with this. An older man who has created habits, routines, and a predictable structure in his life emits the opposite signal, consistency. The same wake-up time, the same discipline regarding his work, the same standards in how he treats people. This quiet consistency is like oxygen to a feminine nervous system that is tired of instability. Think about the archetype of the Stoic man. Not cold, not robotic, but deeply grounded. He does not base his value on immediate results. He bases it on inner standards. He is not controlled by impulse. He is guided by principle. That stoic energy grows with time. It is forged when you have to endure things you cannot control and still show up. Women often perceive that stoic presence more in older men because they have had more opportunities to be tested. Again, it is not the number of birthdays that matters. It is the number of tests you faced and how you responded. There is also a social dimension to this. Society often treats masculine success as something that arrives later. Many men need years to establish themselves professionally, financially, and socially. While women mature earlier physically and emotionally, many men are still figuring themselves out in their 20s. This creates a gap. She is ready for depth. He is still halfway between adolescence and manhood. In that gap, older men who have already crossed the threshold into mature masculinity become incredibly attractive, not because of tricks, but because of timing. At the same time, large-scale data from online dating shows that women look for partners who are taller, better educated, higher earning, and often older than themselves, while men tend to prefer younger women and place more weight on physical attractiveness. These preferences match and fit together like puzzle pieces. They are compatible strategies. So when you see a younger woman with an older man, you are not looking at a glitch. You are looking at a pattern that makes psychological sense for both sides. Now, what does all of this mean for you as a man who wants to be deeply attractive, not just temporarily interesting? It means that your focus cannot be on cosmetic tactics. Clothes, hair, muscles, social media, all of that can help, but it is not the core. The core is to become the type of man that a woman's deepest instincts recognize as safe, capable, emotionally mature, and going somewhere. That is the man she chooses for real. That is the man she introduces to her family. That is the man she invests in. To become that man, you need to work on 4 pillars: purpose, frame, emotional regulation, and standards. Purpose means your life has a direction that does not revolve around her. Older men often have this naturally because they have had time to build careers, projects, and missions. Your job is to cultivate this as soon as possible. What are you building? What are you obsessed with improving? Which skill are you mastering so deeply that nobody can ignore you? When your days are filled with meaningful action, you emit a subtle but powerful signal. I am not here begging for you to complete me. I am already in motion. You can join my journey if it resonates with you. That is extraordinarily attractive. Frame is your psychological territory. It is the set of beliefs, boundaries, and perspectives from which you operate. An older man tends to have stronger frame because he has lived enough life to know what is non-negotiable for him. A weak frame looks like this. You change your opinions to avoid conflict. You tolerate disrespect because you fear losing her. You accept dynamics that break your self-respect. A strong frame looks like this. You can love deeply, but you will not abandon yourself in the process. You listen, you consider, but you do not betray your principles. When a woman feels a strong frame, she might test it, but if it holds, her attraction grows. Emotional regulation is your ability to feel intense emotion without becoming a slave to it. Many younger men are controlled by their emotional states. They say things they regret. They send desperate messages. They explode in anger or collapse into neediness. Older men who have done the work respond differently. They still feel everything, but they have learned to pause, to breathe, to choose their response. For a woman, this difference is huge. It means that even when she is emotional, she does not have to manage your emotions too. Instead of 2 children fighting inside a relationship, she experiences a dynamic where her feminine chaos can coexist with your masculine order. Standards are the rules you enforce in your life. The type of behavior you allow, the environments you accept, the way you treat your body, your time, your finances. When you are young, it is easy to accept anything. Any party, any friend group, any circumstance that gives you a hit of pleasure. But when you start raising your standards, your entire presence changes. You say no more often. You distance yourself from toxic people. You stop chasing drama. That is exactly what an attractive older man has usually learned. He has no time for nonsense. That energy is magnetic because it signals to a woman that if she enters your life, she will join a higher standard, not slide into chaos. There is one more psychological piece that is very powerful but rarely talked about directly: the perception of scarcity and abundance. An older man who is comfortable with himself, who is not chasing, who is selective, radiates abundance. Even if he is not surrounded by admirers, his attitude says, I have options because I have value. I do not need to rush. I do not need to force anything. That relaxed selectiveness puts subtle pressure on a woman's mind. She feels that winning his attention is meaningful. On the other hand, a younger man who is needy, always available, always messaging first, gives the opposite signal. My attention is cheap. I am grateful for any scrap of interest. That does not create desire. It creates pity. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are in a room with 2 men talking to the same woman. One is younger, fashionable, glued to his phone, laughing nervously, trying hard to impress. The other is older, not necessarily better looking, but fully present. He listens more than he speaks. When he does speak, his voice is calm. His posture is open, not defensive. He is not performing. He is simply being. You know instinctively which man she will think about at night. The question is not why women prefer older men. The question is, which man would you rather be? Here is where it becomes practical. You do not get to decide your age, but you do get to decide your level of maturity. You can make the decision today to become a man whose presence feels older than his passport. That means you take radical responsibility for your life. You stop blaming your parents, your exes, the economy, or women today. You look at your finances and you face them. You look at your health and you face it. You look at your emotional wounds, and instead of using women to bandage them, you begin to heal them. This work is not glamorous, but it transforms everything about the way women respond to you. When you start moving in this direction, something almost paradoxical happens. You stop obsessing over women, and women become more drawn to you. Why? Because you are finally aligned with your masculine nature. Masculinity is about direction, mission, and building. Femininity feels safe and attracted when it senses that a man is anchored in that. That is the ultimate psychological reason behind the attraction to older men. Women are searching for that masculine anchor, and age often correlates with it. Of course, not every woman prefers older men in every context, and research even shows that in casual, initial encounters, both men and women can lean toward younger partners more than they admit. The guardian. But when it comes to long-term commitment, risk, and building a life, the pattern flips back. The man who offers stability, leadership, and emotional strength, often older, sometimes not, becomes the preferred choice. The crucial point is this: the attraction is not to age itself, but to the psychological package that usually comes with it. So if you are young, your path is clear. You cannot fast forward the years, but you can compress your growth. While other men waste entire decades in distraction, you can make every year count. Study psychology, not to manipulate, but to understand human nature. Train your body, not only for aesthetics, but for discipline. Build skills that the world rewards. Set boundaries with people who drain you. Say no to chaos. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you are adding invisible years to your masculine energy. And if you are older, your path is just as clear. Stop apologizing for your age. Stop trying to compete with younger men on their battlefield. You have something they do not: depth, experience, perspective. Do not hide it. Refine it. Take care of your body so that your energy remains strong. Keep your curiosity alive so that your mind does not become rigid. Maintain standards so that you never sink into the bitterness that many older men carry. When you combine age with vitality, wisdom with passion, you become devastatingly attractive. The stereotype of the tired, bitter older man disappears, and in its place appears the grounded, magnetic, masculine presence that women respect and desire. Remember this: a woman does not want just a man who looks good next to her on Instagram. She wants a man whose presence makes her feel that life is safer, richer, and more meaningful. Older men often win that competition because they have learned, slowly and painfully, how to be that man. Your mission is to decide that you will learn it too, faster, more consciously, and with more intention. From this moment on, stop asking, "Why do women prefer older men?" and start asking, "How can I become the kind of man that a woman's deepest instincts choose, regardless of my age?" The answer is not in tricks, lines, or manipulative tactics. It is in your character, your discipline, your emotional strength, and the frame you carry in every room you walk into. When you walk into a room with that energy, clear purpose, calm presence, stable emotions, high standards, something very simple happens. Women who used to overlook you start to notice. Women who only saw you as just another guy start to feel something they cannot explain. Younger men who relied on looks and noise start to fade into the background. Age stops being your enemy or your excuse. It becomes irrelevant because your masculine essence is finally doing the work it was always meant to do. That is the psychological reason behind the attraction to older men. Not magic, not luck, not manipulation. Just a woman's deep instinct recognizing a man who has built himself. Build yourself like that, and you will not need to chase. Your presence will do the talking long before you say a single word.